Welcome to Artificial Intelligence, From Fear to Inspiration. I'm Kate Meyer, and I am one of the MLT ambassadors currently working for the Maine Department of Education.
And I'm Nicole Karod, and I'm also one of the 8 ambassadors working for the Department of Education.
So we are really excited about this topic, and we're just going to dive right in. We are not going to be talking about policies or about ethical use of AI today because we both understand that those are very big discussions that need to happen in your schools, in your departments, and in your districts. So instead, we are going to focus on these 4 areas. The first is the AI revolution and what is it? And then we're going to talk about ChatGPT and how you, as an educator, can use it as your personal assistant in the classroom. And then we'll go over a preview into the best tools, sites, and resources that incorporate AI, and then an invitation for you to explore AI tech use. So let's start with the AI revolution. Well, what is artificial intelligence? You're probably already using it if you use Siri or Alexa or even Facebook. Facebook uses artificial intelligence to analyze your likes and your page visits and other interactions to provide you with personalized content like targeted ads or the people that you might know, and even news stories, which can lead to confirmation bias, as we know. Or you might have smart home devices like thermostats or light bulbs or your oven or your washer and dryer that use AI technology to improve your experience. In education, we have been using Grammarly in the English classroom. We've been using spell checks and photomath and all sorts of things already in the classroom that have a little bit of AI basis to them. And even in healthcare, chatbots are now providing basic health advice and support, and AI can be used to analyze medical data and make more accurate diagnoses. So our lives have actually been surrounded by AI for quite a while now. It's really coming into our collective attention because, of course, the emergence of ChatGPT last fall. So now it's kind of part of our collective concern as educators. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the ability of a computer or a machine to perform tasks that actually would normally require human intelligence. Those are things like learning and problem solving and decision making and a lot more. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about AI. If we just pause for a second and realize that it has been all around us, then we can move forward and look at how it might be impacting education. I always talk to my students about their current technology. So I'll say like, hey, that iPad or that phone that you have or the laptop that you have, take it out and look at it because it's probably the worst piece of technology they're going to experience over the course of your life. By the time you are into your careers and families, technology is going to have advanced so far that you'll look back at those devices and laugh about probably how primitive they will seem to you at that point. The most amazing fact about AI is that even though it's starting to feel really impressive, a year from now, we're going to look back fondly on the AI that exists today as quaint and antiquated. And it's so true. Nicole and I talk often about all the new AI tools that are coming onto the market, and it's estimated that every week we get over 100 new AI tools on the market. So it's growing exponentially at this point. Of course, it is going to impact schools in ways that we probably can't even imagine right now. But of course, a lot of people are talking about how ChatGPT specifically is going to impact classes where students are writing and using the text that ChatGPT can generate as their own work. So I just will leave this graphic here so you can go back and pause this recording and check this graphic out. But it is going to require some conversations in our schools about rethinking what plagiarism is and rethinking the human and machine collaboration that really is going to be a part of our very near future. And we also have this graphic to share with you that might aid you in having some of these conversations with your colleagues, with your faculty, around questions that educators should be asking about their AI use. These are great to share with students too. So when it's time to talk to students about ethical use of AI, presenting them with maybe some student facing questions that look similar to these can help you have those conversations that are going to need to be had around ethical use of AI in the classroom. So we'll kind of keep these things in mind as we move forward through the presentation today. So let's look at ChatGPT, because that's the one that has been at the forefront, I think, of a lot of educators' minds since it was released this past fall. ChatGPT is an AI assistant that was created by OpenAI, and users of ChatGPT provide it with questions or prompts, and then it responds, all in text. It has amassed over 1 million users in 5 days. And just to put that in perspective, it took Instagram 2 months to get 1 million users, and it took Spotify 5 months to get 1 million users. So ChatGPT was picked up by the early adopters very quickly. And within 2 months, ChatGPT had over 100 million active users. And, now that I'm even talking about ChatGPT, it's already kind of obsolete. We've moved on to ChatGPT 4, and maybe by the time you're viewing this video, that has become a bit obsolete, and it's moved on to the next revision or the next iteration, which is AutoGPT. So I'm going to focus on how ChatGPT or ChatGPT-4 can help you as an educator, as it's really still kind of up in the air regarding student use. And while I'm really excited about how I might use it with students, I'm equally excited about how I can use it as a personal assistant to improve my workflow. And I found this really great quote from John Spencer in his book, AI for Educators. And he said, AI is going to give us the most precious, most valuable, most sought after resource for educators: time. AI is going to give us time. And I don't know what excites you as an educator in terms of professional learning, but somebody telling me that there's a tool that's going to give me time makes me very excited. So today we're going to look at specifically how to prompt ChatGPT to do what you want it to do, because really the magic of ChatGPT comes with the magic of how you prompt it to create the output. So ChatGPT is actually going to teach us how to ask better questions, because really prompting is everything when it comes to the use of this specific technology. It is the art of communicating with AI. And just as a quick side note, there are actually companies who are offering upwards of $350,000 a year for people who get good at the skill of prompt engineering. That is prompting AI. So the more you play with it, the better you will get. And what I have discovered is that prompting is really a collaboration between human and AI in a really creative way. The more I played with it, the more I just came to this realization that I have to know a lot about the topic so that I can prompt it to give me more. The book, The AI Classroom by Dan Fitzpatrick, offers this graphic for students, but it is actually the perfect place for us to begin as educators too. So we're going to talk today about prepping the machine with the prompt and how to best do that. And then the part of the graphic that I'm not going to go over just for time's sake is the edit part, but that is where you get the output and then you continue to chat with the AI to edit the output so that it really gets refined to exactly what you want. So first you will start with the P in prep, and that is for prompt. You will begin with prompting. So you will set the scene and create a foundation for the rest of the instructions that you're going to give it. AI does not pick up on human nuances, so we have to provide it with clear and direct instructions. Most people stop here. So they'll put the prompt in and then that will be it. And you will get output from ChatGPT if you put in just simply this very basic prompt and then hit enter. But this is going to be your first step. So a prompt might look like this: create an academic quiz about cells. or create a risk assessment for a class trip to the theater. And like I said, this will get you output. However, this is just our first step. We're going to keep going. The next step is role. So you are going to assign the AI a role. You are going to give it a clear understanding of what you want it to accomplish. It'll then know how to approach the question and provide the best response for you. So by giving it a role, you're basically telling it what hat to wear for the task at hand. So, for example, it might be, you are an expert in health and safety, or you are Atticus Finch, the character from To Kill a Mockingbird. Answer all the questions in the character of Atticus and use the knowledge that he would have. You can really tell it to be whatever it is that you would like. So I often use, you are a kind and empathetic educator who uses design thinking in all of her lessons and is an expert in whatever topic I'm working with. So you can really make it an expert in whatever it is that you need it to be an expert in. You will then give it explicit instructions, and this is where you will be very clear and specific about what you want ChatGPT to do. It'll just ensure that you and ChatGPT are on the same page. So it might be, write 5 questions, use Bloom's taxonomy to make sure that the questions develop a deeper understanding, use various question types, provide an answer key at the end, or make complex ideas easy to understand for 14-year-olds. And Nicole gave me this tip because for a while I was saying, create this for 11th graders. And she reminded me that it was a global platform, and 11th graders means a lot of different things in a lot of different places, and it means nothing in some places. So to use ages of students or the people for whom you are creating within the prompt. So just a quick tip. Then you will set the parameters. This is the critical last step in asking the AI tool the optimal question. So you are defining the scope and the boundaries of the answer, which helps it understand what you're looking for while helping it provide the most accurate response. Without setting clear parameters, the AI will actually take control then of what it thinks you want it to do, and it'll make assumptions about what you want. So it's really critical that you don't skip this last step. So setting the parameters might sound like, write this in 100 words and with a reading age of 11 years old, or write in shorter sentences that are full of meaning and have an impact on the reader, or write this in a formal and caring tone. So what does that look like kind of on the ground with ChatGPT? So this is a prompt I created that can be used to create quizzes. So the prompt I gave it was to create a quiz about coastal erosion. And I told it that it was a geography teacher who is an expert on coastal erosion and also an expert on creating engaging quizzes. And I told it to include questions that were about hydraulic action, compression, abrasion and attrition. I told it to write 10 multiple choice questions and to write them with a reading age of 12 years old. And then I wanted it to end the quiz with one open-ended question. And then I also wanted an answer key for this quiz. So I'm not showing you all 10 questions just for space sake, but you can see in the first 3 questions, the quality that I am getting out of ChatGPT. Also, you can see the open-ended question that it created for the end of the quiz. So describe one way in which coastal erosion can impact coastal communities and ecosystems. Then you can see it did give me the answer key. You can see all of the terms that I asked it to use are included in that answer key. And it also kind of gave me a general, like, here's what to expect in your open-ended questions, even though I didn't even ask for that necessarily. This prompt, I got a little more detailed, so I asked it to create a lesson plan utilizing the blended learning station rotation model for a 65-minute long English class for 17-year-olds on the topic of how authors use symbolism for effect. I told it it was an expert in symbolism and literature and also in creating lessons that use design thinking, and also an expert on Catlin Tucker's work on the blended learning model of education. So like I said, you can really tell it to be an expert in anything that you would like it to be. I also asked it to reference some texts that we study in class together, so include some examples from The Great Gatsby and Fahrenheit 451, because my students would recognize those. I asked it to create 3 stations for stations to work through and to work independently. One should be online, the other 2 should be offline, and then each station should be able to be completed in about 15 minutes. And then I told it to include resources that I could give to my students. And so this is what it gave me. It gave me the objectives for the lesson. It gave me resources to use for the lessons, articles, and YouTube videos. It outlined exactly what each station was. I could give those instructions right to the students. And it ended the lesson by telling me to have students do a reflection. And it didn't tell me what to do for that reflection. So I said, well, what should I do? Give me 3 examples of reflection activities that I can use to end the class. And so it gave me 3 really authentic, kind of exit slip sort of activities that I would definitely use in my classroom. It can also be used to help us do tasks that maybe we do over and over again, or tasks that maybe we struggle with a little bit. Sometimes we have to write a lot of parent emails, and sometimes that can be difficult. So I had it create an empathetic email to a parent of a 14-year-old student who is struggling to keep up with the workload in my class. I did tell it that it was a kind and caring teacher who wants their students to fulfill their potential. They're seeking collaboration with the parent on how to best support them as they complete their missing assignments. I then included some information like, make sure the parent knows that we have homework club on Tuesdays and Thursdays and that their students should absolutely come to that. Let them know that I've spoken to their child and that their child really does want to do their best and does want to try to catch up, and tell the parent that you're thankful for their support. So it did generate that email for me in a template format. I actually thought the tone was quite nice. It was also very professional. It also, like I said, it created it in a template format. So if that was the kind of conversation I was having over and over again, I could use this email multiple times. But sometimes if we're struggling for lots of reasons to compose an email or to do other pieces of the paperwork process that we have to do as educators, ChatGPT can be a really great assistant to help us move along in that process. I also use it to kind of be a thought partner to bounce ideas off of. So I asked for a list of novels that were under 300 pages and also appropriate for 16-year-old students. And I wanted it for my American Dream unit. And so I told it it was an expert in young adult literature and that it was also an avid reader, and that I wanted 1 classic American text and then at least 4 young adult novels. And that I also wanted it to be inclusive of BIPOC authors as well. And it generated this list for me that was pretty much exactly what I was hoping for and kind of expecting, titles I was familiar with. But it also gave me descriptions, which you can see I did not ask for, but it told me how each book connected to the theme of the American Dream. And this just saves me, if it was a topic I didn't know anything about, this would save me a massive amount of time having to dig through all the books and read the reviews, or even potentially like read a bunch of books to even figure out what some of the themes were. This gives me some targeted text to go right to, so that I am creating things for my classroom even faster. So ChatGPT as your personal assistant can do just about everything: writing curriculum maps, scales and learning objectives, comment banks, report cards, writing unit and lesson plans, creating stations and quizzes. It can give feedback on student writing. It can suggest materials and resources to use in your class. It can script out presentations. It will create rubrics. It will create Kahoot questions for you. It will do just about anything that you can dream up. And we have included a link here on this slide that we will include in the description section that will take you to Alice Keeler's 100 Prompts for Teachers to Ask ChatGPT, to kind of get you thinking about all of the amazing things that ChatGPT can do for you as your personal assistant.
Well, and the cool thing is that it's only getting better. So it's going to do all those things and so much more. So I'm going to go over just some tools, some sites, and some resources that you can use, just giving you a quick preview. Just know that a lot of these will change as time goes on, as things become more and more exciting and more things are offered. So Conquer is a place that you can create quizzes. And with this, you would tell it to create a quiz, 5 questions, grade 7, photosynthesis. And I'm on each of these slides, just so you know, and we'll include those in our description. You've got a place to try it out and kind of a video that previews it or shows you how to do something with it. So here's the example with this. I just asked multiple choice, 5 questions, 6th grade, human body systems. It's given me just that. With Conquer, it also gives me an opportunity to have the kids do it right there, and my kids can have it read aloud to them, or I can export it to something that I use like Google Forms, something I already use. Curipod, this is actually one of my favorites. So it's going to create formative assessments. And this is, this company is someone that's reaching out to educators and they want to know like what we need. So this one is definitely only going to get better. Basically, it's going to create a slideshow for you, and you're going to be able to present that with your kids, and your kids are going to be able to answer questions right there. And then not only that, but when they're answering questions, and let's say it's a, open-ended question, the Curipod will help you generate feedback for them. And then you can read it real quick and send it right back out to them. And this is an example of that. So you've got, what is the process by which food makes? And you have different questions, and that can be something you project on your board. And it's quick and a good assessment, and the AI helps you with it. AI generated art, another one of my favorites. Let's see how many times I'll say that. So there's several different sites and things that are doing this. But there's 4 here that I've shared with you. So Scribble Diffusion, OpenAI Labs, Lexicon Art. Those 3 are literally just ones that you can plug in a prompt and say, create this, give it a feeling, and it will pop out art. Both of these are examples of something around the Starry Night. A couple tips with that. With this one, I said, create a robotic story night, and it actually put the robot in there. Whereas this one, I said, create a robotic feeling, and it changed up really how it kind of feels. So that's something to kind of look at. And then this last one, which I see with a lot of different applications and things like that, is 3D worlds that you can create. And how neat would it be to have a book in your classroom and your kids go on and type in a prompt and they're creating a world around that book. Perplexity. So this one is similar to ChatGPT. When you plug in a prompt for this one, it's not only going to give you an answer and something similar to ChatGPT, but it's also going to give you the sources. And then with those sources, you can click on them and go straight to that. So it's kind of a different way to use that AI in the classroom. Copilot, this one is maybe changing up a little bit because they haven't done it in a little while. However, the platform is still up there, and it's kind of a go-to for a lot of things. You can see here, it's got like a lesson builder, quiz builder, idea generator, writing prompts. So there's so much to this, and you can click in and you can have, here's my unit name, photosynthesis. I tell how old my kids are. What I love about this is we know in the classroom that we don't always have 45 days when we have like kind of those canned programs and it says do this in 45 days. I can say I need 6 lessons because that's all I have, and it will plug that in. And then what the unit should cover. And then I literally copied and pasted the NGSS standards, or you could use whatever standards you have to get the output. And it gave me 6 lessons. And then with those 6 lessons, when I click on them, it gives me kind of the overview, it gives me the objective, resources. So it'll give me the lesson plan, handouts, context videos, suggested context builder, and then suggested videos. So there's a lot here. And I would say as a science teacher who kind of plugged in information for this, these lessons are great. I would probably go through and just kind of say, like, what can I add that might be a little hands-on or change up? And that's what we do, but it would save me hours and hours of time just for this work. This one I think is going to be a game changer as far as leveling the field for our students. And you can use ChatGPT in a similar way, as far as you can put an article or text in here, and then you can choose the reading level. So that if I have students, I'm a 7th grade teacher, if I have students that are reading at a 3rd grade level, I can put the information right in there and it's going to generate that. With this one, I found that the changing the reading level was pretty spot on, but some of the questions and things like that it generated is the questions weren't on reading level. So that hopefully will be something that gets better over time. But then what you could do is kind of combine your AI pieces. And so I really like the reading passage of this one, but I want questions around it that are at that level as well. So I'm going to plug that into GPT, and that will help me as well. Pictory, this one's really neat. So it's text to video. So you can take a URL, or you can give it a couple lines of text. You could even have a picture, and it will turn that into a video. So one thing to check out is Kate's example afterwards. She spent about 10 minutes to take a article, plug it in there, and then do a little fiddling with it, and it was ready, something to present your kids. So if you have students that maybe that content, reading that long article, isn't something that would be able to have them access, you could plug it in this way, and it's a little bit more entertaining and something that they can access a little bit more. This one was fun to fool around with. So this is 11 labs. I could see this using either in creating videos or also giving directions in class. So basically what I do is I type something in, and it will take that and generate an AI voice. So I have it right there, and I mashed this one up with another app that I'll show you on later on. This one is fun. It's our history teachers would definitely use this, and something also that you could play around and do with GPT, giving that role. But so this is Hello History, and basically what you're doing is you pick a person from the past, a historical figure, and you can have AI generated conversations with them. And what I thought was interesting about this, I played around with it a little bit, is they will only answer questions from the time that they were living. And so kind of thinking it might give you like some generated information as far as like, this is how I would think about this, but it's not going to give you feedback as far as like, oh, it's 2022 and I know what happened during the pandemic. So I thought that was curious, and it might be interesting to use with students of like, what is the perspective? So there's a lot of potential there. Consensus. This one is, as a science nerd, I kind of geeked out on this one, but it's all based on different research. So when you put something in and you ask it a question, I put in, can light affect photosynthesis? It's only going to give me research-based output. So this would be great for a lot of different pieces, especially your research that you have kids do in class. This is two kind of combined, DeepL Write and DeepL Translator. So the write part of this is I can put in information and have it do like edit or help me with my grammar, things like that. And then DeepL Translator translates anything into different languages. And what's different about this than say Google Translator is it's not so word for word. So it's actually going to pick up on some of those nuances of the language and make a much cleaner translation. Canva. So this is a nice piece that if you are looking and your school hasn't said no to AI and it's not blocked, this is a great entry point for students because they have so many tools. I think it's been a couple months ago now, they put 10 brand new tools in there, and there's anything from Magic Write, which is similar to ChatGPT, to text to image. You can even type up a doc and just do the titles, and then it will make a slideshow for you. So there's a lot here, and it's just a nice entry point for anybody that just wants to check it out and see how it goes. And remember, Canva is free for all educators and students. U.com is a cool search engine. So with this, what's different from other search engines, it actually, so again, I searched photosynthesis, and it just gives me kind of an overview of here are some activities for that. And what I liked also about this is it pulled in some of those social media pieces, so that if there were videos of activities, like there's a lot of teachers on TikTok or Facebook that are showing, here's an activity on photosynthesis, it pulled that in so I could click on that as well. And it was easier and more streamlined to find stuff for my lessons. Wisdolia, first of all, I loved the graphics on this because they are absolutely beautiful. But this is flashcards from any site, and I should say, or video, because I just learned that they also extended it to YouTube videos. So basically you can bring this up as an extension on a video or on a website, and it will create flashcards for you. And so what a great way to study, especially if maybe you're doing some flipped learning and you're sending that video home with students to watch, you could say also do the flashcards so that they're pulling out that information. I see myself using this one in the future. So this is the flashcard example. So you can kind of see this was the YouTube video. Every school should have 6 AI conversations. And then here's what it's going to pop up. It's going to give you a question about it and then reveal answer.
Thank you for coming to Kate and Nicole's presentation today. I hope you were able to embrace
So if you remember right earlier, I had said that I incorporated the 11 labs with a mashup of another AI app, and this was exactly it. So I took a picture of Taylor Swift and was able to write something out with 11 labs, and then with DID, I just apply it and I can have any photograph say anything that I want, which in one sense is a little scary, but in another sense, I also can see like, how great would it be? How many times as teachers do we repeat our directions, right? And you could put this in your Google Classroom or on the board and say, hey, go ask Taylor. And so that would just be a lot of fun. And I can see students being really engaged with it. Parlay is another one that's really exciting. And so this one is a app or website where you're generating questions. And so with this, they just added some AI features where not only will it help you generate those discussions that you want your students to have, but also it will help you with the follow-up. So a lot of the times as teachers, we want to constantly give that feedback. And what is it that we don't have? We don't have time to do that. And we try the best we can, but it's not always, we don't have the time. And so the AI here will analyze your students' conversations and then ask you like, hey, are these the questions that you could use for follow-up? Do you want to use those? And then you can plug those and send them back out to your classroom again. And so that's pretty exciting because it's just another component where it's giving us time. And here's an example from that. So it's created questions and then also just generating from those questions the next steps. So other tools that are worth mentioning, I just put these in so that I encourage you to go through that website or this presentation afterwards in the description and click on different things. I've got animate your drawings, generate memes, Taboo with a bot, Photomath, pixelate images, things for spreadsheets. There's so much out there. One piece of advice, and I would give this advice around any technology or any initiatives that you're doing in the classroom, whatever you choose, don't choose all the things because no one can do all of the things. Choose what helps you and works for your classroom. And if it doesn't help or work for your classroom, don't use it. Pick something else. So we've created a resource bank with lots of different things here. We have different blogs, and John Spencer is a great resource. Matt Miller is another one that we really like. There's a lot of kind of specific educators that have been talking about AI and are really reliable sources. We included some videos so that you could go back and look at that. There's, I think, a couple of them here. John Spencer. Some more here. And then this slide has information about how you might teach your students about AI. So it's not necessarily tools, using tools with them, but how you might start to ask them questions about it and introduce the topic to them. So we have an invitation for you to explore, a kind of a call to action that after you're done watching this video is that you click down into the description and you click on our presentation and you click on some of these tools. Try them out. It doesn't have to be something right now that you're using with your students, but please go check it out to make your teacher life and your workflow easier. And we have, you know, as of right now, as the video is coming out, in a couple months, it's summertime, maybe you save it for then and you check out these resources and you're making next year just that much easier and giving yourself that time. And so thank you for your time. Like I said before, please make sure that you click on the description and check out all of those resources. And then also in the description, you will find credits for hours for certification. Thank you so much.